Did you go to the stores?
What's your name?
Kevin Robinson.
That's Get Paid, yeah, the footballer.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you know, I heard that.
I did, yeah, I was alive.
Kirby.
I'm from the South End, but I went to Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby, yeah.
Council tax.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we had the welfare and all that. We introduced this lots.
That's right, yeah, Kevin,
you spend
yeah.
a week, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be
No.
disrespectful in any shape or form,
Yeah.
because I've done this exercise before.
Yeah.
Many years ago with Attic Chaplin and people like that, you know.
Didn't recognise you then. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and to be frank, yeah, he's right. But let's say for the observer, they wouldn't. Frank's give a description, I can follow it to the letter.
Yeah, that's great.
But what there's a caveat to everything that he's virtually said about why there was 8 men down below, right? It was 4 either side, you know, and so on and so forth. Why they went on strike? Didn't go on strike because they liked to go on strike, because they lost money when they went on strike.
Yeah,
It's the safeguards the shipping companies because of the insurance. So anything damaged goods, they get done for it. So we lost because of that. And they used to put tents up and things like that, Frank, you know.
Put the Ben Bolton always put the tent up.
Yeah.
And when it stopped raining, shift the tent and let water come off the tent down the square.
Yeah.
But
And anthrax, that was bad stuff. Got all the sheds, they all had beware of anthrax
Yeah,
spots, letting you know on the side.
this is the ironical thing.
Yeah.
For me and Frank, this is the double act. I can see it coming
Yeah.
off. But they had all the notices on mainly on the walls on the right. They don't know where to watch though.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just like try and bring it into some focus. Frank's right. 1967, when they done away with the casualised system, right? And then it came into being that they had to supply. We had no toilets on the docks.
But they had the toilets.
They had toilets.
But no washing.
Yeah.
No sinks or anything like that. No.
Frank, let's be clear.
Yeah.
The toilets, right?
Yeah, the box.
Were not toilets. It was a float, right? That went past. And I mean that. I don't want to go into too much, but that's what they had nowhere to wash their hands, nowhere to have a cup of tea. If you went, you had to put a deposit on a knife or a fork and a cup, right? If you had a cup and you're in a canteen, whether it be Harry Layton's or Stan Waters or one of them, because it was that crowded, right? A room like this, it'd be chocker. The condensation, you could fill the cup up 3 times.
Nissen nuts. They're the nissen nuts then.
Yeah.
These are people come down entertainers, you know.
Yeah.
You know, these entertainment things that come down and dance and tap dance and the shows. But the nissen nuts on the West Canada, I used to drip off there. It was very bad, yeah.
But what I mean, we've got to take on board here what we're saying, the seriousness of it, right? How it affected. My dad worked on the docks, my granddad worked on the docks, my 3 uncles worked on the docks. I lived outside the docks in the South End, you know what I mean? So I don't know anything different. My dad certainly didn't want me to come on the docks, right? Because you're trying to improve for your kids, and I'm 1 of 7. No, we didn't have a telly. But nevertheless, the thing is, he was trying to improve me. So when it comes to an age, I went on the docks, right? When I went on the docks in 67, we were the first intake on the scheme. So, and I would say this, and I don't want to swear, but I'll be as blunt as I can. I made a commitment to my dad and my granddad and them. I said, yeah, they said, look son, you don't want to be going down there, get yourself a trade, you know, which is easy and if you can get it. So when I went down there, right, I was lucky. I mean, it's box 10, which is the South End, because that's my neck of the woods. So I knew lads' dads that I'm calling Mr. Brown and Mr. Smith and Mr. Riley and all things like that. And there's a story in that as well. But the thing is, they protected the likes of myself because they knew I was a local kid and all that, stuff like that. But I said to my granddad and my dad and all that, look, I'm not going to put up with what you put up with. And he went, but it's hard, son, you know. And I've seen it. I've come home and said, I've put my dad and my granddad's boots off. So I know what I'm saying there, you know what I mean? When you're looking at it and going, you
Before
just
67, we didn't have stewards, we had card stewards.
That's right. Yeah.
So we struck ourselves. When we went on strike, we do it ourselves. They said, go up to Alan Mark, go get our down. Alan Mark come down.
Cow's kecks.
Remember Wingy?
Yeah. I can name the cow's kecks. That was the name.
Wingy only had one
Big
arm.
white kecks on.
Wingy only had one arm.
Cow's
And
kecks.
he was the employer's representative. the insurance and all that. That's why they call him Wingy. When he come down,
Because
Alan Ma used to go to pitches in the afternoon, and he put on the screen in the Commodore, Alan Ma you wanted, on the screen, and that's not like that. Yeah.
But he's Frank's
Brasenose Road,
that's right, yeah. But when the likes of Alan Ma, when the delegates, that's what they called them,
Yeah,
they were called a delegate then. So they come down. So the delegates, he's my representative. The first people he goes to is the boss, not to the men. Like us did, as stewards, we went to the men. I said, what's the problem, Frank, here? And he go, Kevin, we need extra men there. They're going in down below. You know, we've got 8, but we need going right up there. So, okay, I'd go and negotiate with the employer, right, or the supervisor, as they called them then later on. And then I'd say, look, we need it, warranty, and then we get the dollars and all that type of thing. You get paid over the rails. Yeah. So, that was it. When I was a steward, but prior to that, the delegate come down, you wouldn't know he'd been. He'd been to see the employer, and he'd come away, and he'd say to someone like me or Frank, hey, tell them that you're getting extra £6 an hour. Like, they wouldn't even come to the men and talk to them. That's how bad it was. You know, because the men on the docks, I've got to keep saying it, they were dehumanised. You couldn't get a stick of furniture if you worked on the docks, right? I can only use my own family, right? Because you didn't have a job.
You get a mortgage.
We no 0-hour contracts. That was
when you come down, and when you come down in that lot,
yeah,
they all come down together, and they made you permanent. You weren't permanent at the first.
No, but the 67, they've done away with the casual system. That's
wasn't really casual, we worked with that slave board. The firm couldn't sack you.
Frank.
Firm couldn't sack you.
1967,
yeah,
right, we had a big strike.
Yeah, right? 6-week strike.
Yeah, so, well, that was the average. Every strike was nearly 6 weeks.
We stayed out it was a national strike, all the country was out, and we stayed out 2 weeks longer than the rest of them. You know, Jackie Dash and all that, down in London. Yeah. We stayed out, and we got the £20. We got the highest sign no money in all the ports in all the country. Yeah. But before that, the firm couldn't sack you.
No. What I'm saying, just so you understand the structure, right? When you went on the dock, because after 1967, the docks had been they had a nationalised body, the National Dock Labour Board scheme. That's what you were under. That was the umbrella.
From 1949.
Yeah, that's what you become under, right? So, although you work for Harrison's, Smith Coggins, Scrutton's, whoever, LMT, whatever, you were under the auspices of the National Dock Labour Board scheme, right? The company had to pay a levy for every man that was employed to the National Dock Labour Board scheme. So that they had their own scheme. This was national docks, whether it was Newcastle, London, Southampton, wherever. Right, that's how it happened. And we had a welfare system in it. We had clinics on the dock. By the National Dock Labour.
They were there before 67.
Yeah, but the National Dock Labour Board scheme took them over as, you know, instead of just having a nurse or someone with a first aid.
No, they had the surgeries on the dock then.
Yeah, but they didn't have what I'm saying, the personnel, what they had.
They had a paid nurse?
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that they had maybe 2 nurses or a higher nurse, you know, assist in there. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. That's what you're right in what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you.
So was that for accidents and stuff?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything. Doesn't matter. And sometimes if there was an accident at the ship, they'd have to get someone to go and get the nurse. They'd ring for the ambulance, right? And they'd come that way. And the police had to come. That was another thing, you see. If there was any accidents on the docks, the police had to come to see, to verify it, to register, and so on and so forth. So I'm talking about a major accident, not talking about someone who cuts the finger, you know.
All the sheds had
but that
a box to lift it out on.
Yeah.
A box.
Yeah. And it was funny because, you know, just lightening it up a bit, like, because on the docks, most people had nicknames, right? And you never knew the name, what he was. You didn't know his name was Freddie Smith. You'd know it, like, you call him, like, SS, seldom seen, right? There's loads of names, you know, Phildicott, because you've got about 10 kids. They call him, you know, and he'd go by that name. If someone come up to you and said, do you know where Freddie Smith is? Never heard of him, lad, you know. And if you said this, where's the where's Fildercots? You go, oh yeah, he's in the canteen down there. So that's the way it was, you know, a bit like when I said before where you lived. Didn't know where you lived, they say, oh Frank, yeah, oh you mean from the South End, Frank, that? And you know what you're talking about, you know, that type of thing.
So what was your name?
Well, I had two names and I don't want to really divulge them. But
Go on.
I had two names, frankly verified this. They used to call me the male model, right? Not because of my looks, by the way, right? Because I wouldn't go near shite, right?
Didn't work, by the way.
I wouldn't, no, I would work, but when I wanted to, on my side. So, when we were on stuff that was dusty and that, this is the argument, you see. I was a great advocate for, as Frank said it, after 67, we got boiler suits, we got masks.
No, before 67 we had them.
No, but yeah, if you wanted them, but
they were thrown to you, if you wanted them.
we made it compulsory. That everywhere you went, if it was a shit job, you got boiler suits. Whether you wore them is another thing, but we would always insist as stewards, you wear them, because that's why we get it. And I remember working at a ship, and the ship's boss was, we used to call him the busted whale at the best bail, because he was like that, right, big heavy fella. Beef Evans his name was, Dave Evans. And we worked with my dad on the docks, and he used to go, all right Robbo, how are you doing? I go, all right Dave. Like, you know, this is a man that I remember from a kid, you know. But he was, because he was big and raucous, right, he used to stand over the ass like that. See, he went, no look, I'll give you this example. The ship I was at, right, I said, hey boys, this is rubbish this, we need the boiler suits and the mask and the gloves. And the older fellas, right, they go, oh Kevin, just sit in the wings, go and sit there, tell me if I'm wrong Frank. They go ahead, you're alright, we'll do it. No, it's not about you not doing it. It's about, we want to have the protection of it. Like, because I'm a young psych, as they used to call us then, right? I'm not having it. I'm going, no, we're not having it. So I can still see it now. Like, so I shouted up to the deckhand, Dickie. I said, Dickie, stop the fall there, lad. Stop it. I said, because we want the gear. Right? Okay, lad. No, don't forget, I'm only like 20 years of age. And he has to be 21 to be on the dock. Right? So I'm a young psych. So these are, as I said, men that lived around by me. I've seen them growing families and so on and so forth. So the respect from me was always to them. Anyway, this Beef Evan comes along like that. She goes, I won't swear, he goes, what's the matter? Like that. So I said, so they sort of went into the, I went, we want the boiler suits and the mask and all that. Boiler suits? What do you want boiler suits for? I said, well, you normally put them on like that. So he went, I don't know, your old fella wasn't like that, you know. So, and I went, yeah, you know what you do? You know, you might have done all this to me old fella and me granddad, but you're not doing it to me, because I'm not having it. And when I looked round, there was, where's the fella? They were all gone, they were all like, you know, I went, well, yeah, there was, doing the ass. But, anyway, within about half an hour or so, Dickie, yeah boys, is the boiler suits coming over? I said, hey boys, we've got to do this all the time, otherwise we're going backwards, because they were so entrenched in pre-67 and frightened to say anything.
Yeah, you always got boiler suits.
Yeah, but
the carbon black, gingham and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but because it was essential.
The storekeeper would always give you that.
Yeah,
and the gloves, remember the gloves you see at the campus?
Yeah, but they were open on one side, they were a flat.
They were
a thumb, right?
Just a mitt, yeah.
That's what
so you used to give it on the copper, not the copper, the lead. You know, the lead,
yeah.
Lead.
But I'm talking about bags, yeah. On carbon black, yellow ochre,
yeah.
red ochre, all them carbon, as I said, you need, yes.
Yeah.
You know, Stevie Wonder knew you needed them then at that time, because it was so obvious. But what we were asking for, when it wasn't obvious, because we deemed, because that was having an effect on our health, the fact that what was happening. And don't forget, we were working in a hatch, right, that was loading empty cement bags in bales, right? So they were wired in bales, and as they come down, as good as the deckhand was, as soon as he hit the deck, like that, poof, you get the dust of all the cement. So that's why we're asking for the boiler suits.
You used to get them on the cement when you're making the cement boats.
No, this wasn't a cement boat, but this is a stream boat.
Stream, oh, I had streams,
Yeah. Frank, I've done them. I'm no more than yourself. But, you know, I'm just saying, I come down with the intention, right? I don't want to work here, but when I work here, I'm going to get paid. And when I'm here, I'm going to look after it. Because it proves it. Like, you know, I see my old fella come home and couldn't pull his boots off. And my granddad the same. And I made a vow that it's not going to happen, right? Because I didn't care. I didn't care. And it's still the same today as a trade unionist. I have respect in every way. But that's the way it was. We were half was still in the, hold on, you know, as Frank said about coming in the pen and closing the doors and all that. That was still in their head. And you're trying to educate them now. Look, boys, this is us. This is us. That's why we had the school.
When you were in the pen system, you were free. What you did was up to yourself. That's why everyone stayed on the dock. They liked the dock because you had the freedom. You like working for yourself, weren't you? That was it.
But there must have been a really high incidence of lung infections.
Exactly.
And
That's the point.
and things. You know, because of it.
The asbestos. I can name it.
All that's that.
Yeah.
So big
Myelosilioma, right? I've dealt with it since health and safety came into being in 1973.
Yeah.
We were educating people, right? Because we were young lads through the union. Look, we used to go to Concord Street, do health and safety courses, Dave Eva, I can name it all. We've done it. Why? Because we wanted to take it down the docks and making sure that we were doing things like that. You know when the likes of Carbon Black come, right? They even in Liverpool, right? They took the name off the bags. They took the name off, right? Now, the people talk about it, you know, oh, there's blue asbestos, white asbestos, you know, and so on and so forth. No, all asbestos is bad, right? So they took the name off the bag, right? So people didn't know. And we had the incident because we had a good relationship with the London dockers, that they were saying, no, they come into our ports as well. Because we built up a relationship on the national ports.
You always knew when you were working on carbon.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying, Frank, is that...
And bones, hooves and bones.
Yeah, all I'm saying about the Carbon Black, you took it home.
For weeks with you.
And it never got it. It was like talcum powder. It was so fine, it went in your pores. Doesn't matter how many times you washed it. I seen me awfully get washed in front of the fire.
Went to Dunlops.
Yeah.
Dunlops.
Went into tyres, wellies and any rubber fabrics and stuff like that. But that's all the stuff that's going on.
So before the trade unions, did you know how dangerous this stuff was that you were working with?
We all pretty knew, yeah.
I don't want to give you that.
So with the big six, and he told, yeah, we got sheets of big six.
See, that's a casual way of talking about it, right?
Yeah, well, they all knew. There's another thing in the sheds. So they had cranes and stackers running around the sheds and fumes in the sheds.
Unbelievable. The slew
we walked out a few times because you couldn't breathe in the shed.
What did they used to do with the cranes?
How do you mean? Well, we had little cranes.
I'm asking, what did they do with the cranes that kept the shite out?
Well, they just carried on using them.
No. They used to, all right, well, let me remind you, Frank. Smith Coggins, right? They used to get, they were the fitters and engineers and everything like that, and maintenance people. So they go round starting the stackers and cranes up from 7:30 in the morning.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you go in the shed, right? And especially these slewing cranes. A slewing crane was a crane that was like it had an arm on it like that, and it could go right round like that. And that's what they call it, because of slews, right?
On wheels like mobile.
It was black smoke all the time as they come out. But they never had the sense at the time, right, to open the dock gates and then start it off. Well, and many times when you go there at 8 o'clock, right?
Then a fella going starting them, so it was all...
Yeah, so...
The shed was full of it. Hoisters and all them, stackers, they're all the same. And all day long, it was eventually put electric stackers down the yesterday.
Yeah,
but Smith Coggins wouldn't do that.
No, Smith Coggins had lucky.
Always had a thing.
No, Smith Coggins were more advanced of all the companies in the port.
Well,
I'll tell you for a fact, Frank. Yeah. I'll tell you for a fact. Right. First of all, you were given boiler suits by Smith Coggins. You remember they used to have the 2 cranes on there? Well,
Every firm give you any boiler suits.
No, give you them as your possession.
For while you're at the ship.
No, Frank.
To take
What's
home.
my lips?
To take home.
They become your property.
Oh, after 67, was that like when you got the jacket and trousers?
Yeah, that all come later. Smith Coggins were well ahead of the field on that. Remember you got the denim, you got the
I
Kents.
was in Port Liverpool then.
Oh, well, you've got nothing. Right.
But we got the denim.
Yeah.
And we got the boiler suits.
All I'm saying is that whether you like it or not, and I work for Smith Coggins, they were more advanced in the welfare of the
They were the
people.
biggest employer, biggest firm on the dock.
Well,
Smith Coggins.
well,
From Birkenhead to Glasgow, to everywhere.
I would say Scrutton's at the time was the biggest.
No, Scruttons. What did Scruttons do? What shift did they do?
Well, they had them.
No, they did McAndrews.
Yeah, the McAndrews, you're right. Yeah, they
There's,
done them.
there's nobody else.
Yeah.
They're big in London, Minster name, but,
Yeah, but
they're only one company here.
Smith Coggins was big in London, big in
They're
Southampton, and big in Liverpool.
The biggest
They were in
in
Dacre
here.
Street,
Yeah. Dacre Street.
off Derby Road.
Dacre Street.
That was the place. They had a place over in Birkenhead, right? They used to insist. They used to send you on health and safety courses, first aid courses. They were willing to do
Dock
all
Board
that.
did that. National Dock Labour Board.
No, that's
Can I
the
just
National Dock
see,
Labour Board,
Yeah.
not the Dock Board.
No,
Dock
Dock
Board
Labour Board.
wasn't it?
We
Wasn't
always
Stephen
called the
Orr
Dock
Dock
Board as the National Dock Labour Board.
Yeah.
The Dock Board, that's what they call it.
What were the
And,
Liberty boats?
Liberty boats.
Yeah.
Liberty boats, very big ships, 7,000 ton.
Yeah, they're big.
They had no folks lead on them, but they were Liberty ships given by the Americans lend lease to England. Yeah.
There's just some things that I wrote. And
Yeah.
the
I
railways.
sailed on them, a ship called a Branca. Liberty ship.
You were talking about how the railways were important to the.
Yeah, they'll come by rail, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should send them and put it in the railway wagons, right out and land it at the carriers.
They would come from
Yeah.
because we didn't go. Obviously, you had the overhead. That was one railway on its own. But the railways that would come right into the docks, come
Into
right
the
along
shed.
the dock, come
Into
right
the
along
shed.
the dock road,
Yeah.
into the docks, and they'd have you could have everything. You'd have whiskey in them, but they'd obviously they're sealed up and everything. You had covered wagons and you had open top wagons,
You get pipes.
and then say you'd had ugly pipes, and Stanton pipes and things like that. Yeah,
Carbon,
You'd have
soap powder.
all kinds of stuff like that. But if it needed protected from the weather, that's right. With
The coast, down the coast.
cartons and stuff, it had to be.
Down the coast, that was the first containers. Used to take it off the railway wagon onto the ship. That was the container.
I
For
thought
the
the
small
man
ones
was the
like that.
first.
Just take them out. Yeah.
I thought you had the man boats with the
No,
first.
well, it's before the war. The
Oh,
railways
okay.
had the
Okay.
containers.
Yeah.
Used to just put them on the ship.
No, I thought you were talking about containers.
Yeah, they were called railway containers. Not like the boxes now.
No,
They're smaller.
okay.
That's 8 ton, 10 ton, you know.
Sealand
But
were
they
the
just left
first,
them on.
weren't they?
Pardon?
Sealand, they were the first containers, like tight containers, weren't they?
Well,
Boxes.
Yeah.
Is, John.